fire, fire, fire.
Expedition 33 just shattered the narrative. What narrative?
1 million copies in
Already.
3 days. You know there is a boardroom full of executives that are sitting around scratching their head, screaming for their secretary to explain this to them in Fortnite terms. Reverence. That was the first word that came to mind when I sat down to make this video. Expedition 33 is breathtaking. It is a game that commands respect on every single level and deserves every bit of praise that it's gotten. It is one of the best examples of what today's developers are capable of, what games are capable of, how far they can reach, the value that they can deliver, how they can be far more than simple entertainment. But at the same time, it is incredibly frustrating because it paints a very clear contrast between it and how shallow and utterly vapid the rest of this industry has become.
From what I understand, basically what happened is the ex-Ubisoft employees made an amazing game, and all of the AAA video game studios are pissed about it. I know. Ew, French. Chill the fuck out on the Frenchies for once. They made an amazing fucking game, okay? W Frenchies.
Games like
That's a W
Expedition
right
33 are what we deserve, but are rarely given. And it's not for a lack of talent. We know that because these are former Ubisoft developers making a game that we would never see from Ubisoft or any major publisher for that matter. Today, I want to talk about the explosive popularity of Expedition 33, how it's already broken records by experience playing it, and man, you know, it really must burn to be absolutely destroyed by the very people you let go. But before that, if you want to be a part of the video game revolution and make games for yourself, you can use today's sponsor. Today's video is sponsored by longtime friend of the channel, Boot.dev, a back-end web development platform that does one thing most coding courses don't. Actually keeps you engaged. If you've ever tried learning how to code and bounced off of a wall of boring videos or tutorial hell, you'll get why this is different. Boot.dev feels more like an RPG than a textbook. You got quests, XP, levels, boss battles, and even a global leaderboard. You'll learn Python and Go by building real projects, not just watching somebody else type. And if you're stuck, there's a Discord community and an AI bear wizard that's named Boots that's going to help you be able to figure out what you want without spoon-feeding it to you. This entire program is designed to help you prep for back-end roles where you can earn up to $100,000 a year and even get some remote work, but
That's
without
a lot of
the
money,
get-rich-quick
chat.
nonsense that you see a lot of the times. You can get access to literally all of the content on Boot.dev in guest mode, and if you go all in, there is a 30-day money-back guarantee. So go to Boot.dev and use code LegendaryDrops to get 25% off your first year. If you're serious about becoming a developer, this is the place to start. Expedition 33 was one of my most anticipated games since its reveal. The turn-based...
I didn't even hear about it until word of mouth, and that's usually a really great indicator. Normies were talking about it when I was like, when I was reading Twitter, it was mostly normies talking about this game and how awesome it is. That's how you know it broke the sphere. Like, it broke and cracked through into, like, the normie sphere of video games.
Combat looked like a true iteration or evolution on JRPGs that we've seen over the years. The
That's so
idea
cool.
of using quick time events, active dodge, and pairing mechanics.
And you can parry! It's different from Elden Ring / Dark Souls likes parrying, though. You have to actually time it pretty well.
Mechanics in combat seemed like a fresh idea.
It's not
it had an
insanely
all-star
forgiving.
cast of voice actors. The premise of the game's story, where a celestial paintress is painting a descending number, killing all those older than the age of 33, was genuinely different, and the art style was captivating. Actually, back at the start of last month, I had posted on Twitter saying, I don't know why, but I have an oddly good feeling about Expedition 33. My favorite games are the ones that are coming out of left field from unheard of and unproven developers. I'm genuinely hoping it's one of them. Little did I know just how right I would be. Player Obscure Expedition 33 launched to 60,000.
Dude, look at those graphics. And I know some people don't like super hyper realistic stuff, but it's not super hyper realistic. It's kind of almost floaty. I don't know. Very weird thing to describe it as, but it is.
And concurrent players on Steam, selling over 500,000 copies in its first 24 hours. It had then surpassed that days later, doubling that number to 100.
It kind of reminds me of Alice Returns to Wonderland. Kind of. I don't know why it is. It's stylized. It's stylized.
21,000 concurrent players on Steam and reaching
insane.
1 million copies sold in just 3 days. Hell, the game sold out of physical copies on Amazon and in stores in Australia. For a narrative-driven turn-based RPG that isn't named
I've never heard
Persona,
of that
coming from a
happening
studio
ever.
that's releasing its very first game, this is nigh unheard of, my friends. The game
Oh, not floaty. Sorry, my brain was thinking floaty. I mean, like, it's kind of dreamy. It looks like a dream sequence.
released to near universal praise among critics.
It
is
feels
simply
good.
too good for anybody to ignore, reaching a 91 on OpenCritic with a 100% player rating and a 92 on
What?
Metacritic with a 9.7 player rating. The game is so popular among players that it now holds a world record. Paul Tossi of Forbes wrote an article titled, "Players Just Ensured Claire Obscure Expedition 33's Record Can't Be Touched."
Man, I gotta play
He
it.
writes, I wrote an article over the weekend that confirmed that Claire Obscure Expedition 33, the RPG from first-time developer Sandfall, was in fact the highest user-scored game in Metacritic history. Now, players have caught wind of that. Some pushed back on this, saying it was early and this is just based on a few hundred reviews, playing it super early. Well, people have been playing it over the course of the weekend, and there are now 600% more reviews in, up to 3,300, and the score has actually increased.
I don't think gauging what a Metacritic score is, like, if it's really high, I still wouldn't take it as seriously as a gamer who doesn't normally play JRPGs or RPGs in general. I wouldn't care. User score, I know, but they're not like people that I can talk to. Again, I heard about this game before, right? Like when it came out, and I was like, oh, okay, maybe I'll see you and check it out. But then I went to a friend's house and she was playing it on her, I think it was a PlayStation. Yeah, it was on the PlayStation. And she was like so enthralled by it. And she's normally like, you know, she kind of just plays like, you know, the Switch and stuff, or like plays like little cute games. She even had what is that stupid game called? The Game of the Year one with the mascot. She plays games like that, and she said this game is amazing. I love this. I've never played JRPGs before. Yeah, she played Astrobot. Like, so you know she's not like a giga gamer. She's not super picky, but she said she really liked this game. She gave it a chance.
To a 9.7
the
out
Game
of 10
Pass
from
or
a
something.
9.6 previously. I've said that it's possible that scores fall in time, but what has happened here cemented Expedition 33's title as one of the highest scored games on this platform. Nothing else is close or will get close anytime soon. These thousands of reviews mean that of the top 100 plus best scored games on Metacritic's list, it's already passed many of them in total scores. And again, it's not a close competition. I've only been able to find one 9.3 at all, The Witcher 3's Blood and Wine DLC.
Absolute peak, by the way.
Every other
Peak
historic
DLC.
game that you have heard of is somewhere between an 8.9 and 9.2. Yes, that one. Yes, that one too. Check any one you like. This, my friends, is a flawless victory. Plain and simple. It's the kind of game that should go on to sell tens of millions of copies. Honestly, it's the game that you hope does. When you play it, you want everybody else to play it. And if it doesn't become the most popular game ever, it feels like it's a slight against you. Because it is. We deserve this game. We deserve more games like this. And Sandfall, with a team of a mere 30 ex-Ubisoft developers, deserves all of its recognition, success, and more. While playing Expedition 33, I had an epiphany of sorts. I came to the conclusion that the games industry is desperately clinging to a coloring book, tracing over the same tired outlines.
Thank you. Oh my god, that's actually such an amazing analogy. They try to copy something that just... You can't copy the essence of creativity. You can only imitate it, and people can tell.
Filling in old shapes with new colors, terrified to stray beyond what has already been done. Almost nobody dares to treat games like a blank canvas, to make a mess, to break the frame, to let their imagination spill out and ruin the floor. But where the rest of the industry is coloring inside the lines, Expedition 33 tears the canvas off the wall, smears their hands in the paint, and throws themselves into their work. They let it bleed, they let it burn, they let it scream. They didn't just make a game, they made something alive. I almost almost don't.
And I'm sure I'll find something that I don't like in the game, but I think overall, I only played the game for 5 minutes at my friend's house, and I thought that it was wonderful. I mean, like, she like was fighting a mob, and it was like a mob that kept getting stacking shields, and she was like, I hate this. I hate this mob. I'll get back to it later when you're gone. And I'm like, okay. Like, the music was amazing, and the combat.
Even know where to even start describing this game or its genius. While Expedition 33 definitely takes inspiration from a wide variety of games, that's as far as it goes. It's inspiration with iteration, never
you can swap.
imitation.
I didn't know that.
You catch flashes of the UI taking cues from Persona, the combat adapting ideas from Legend of Dragoon or Final Fantasy VIII, the mournful, hopeless world whispering shades of Final Fantasy X, and the monster design tipping its hat to Dark Souls. But everything here is unmistakably its own. Right out of the gate, the game grips you with its music, its atmosphere, its art, and its writing, a world wrapped in quiet desperation. Most of us come into Expedition 33 already knowing the premise, a world shattered by a calamity, a celestial paintress that is marking humanity's final days by painting a number, and a desperate expedition that is trying to break the cycle. But Sandfall didn't just build a premise, they made it a feeling, and they drive it into you. You walk the streets of Lumiere, you talk to its people, you are given control of somebody heading to their gommage, a final farewell. You walk them down to the pier, watching as the paintress calls their number and paints their death into this world. You hear the voices of the townspeople, see the hollowness in their eyes, feel the ache in their words. And for the first time in a long time, a game makes you feel the stakes, how important yet futile your journey feels, how small and desperate these lives are, how this world is quietly fading before your eyes. You can feel this beautiful, aching world. What impressed me most about Expedition 33 is its revival of subtlety and nuance in an industry.
And yeah, like, again, the premise of the story, again, no spoilers because I haven't played it yet, but from what I understand, it's not, do you think it was like your standard ragtag group saves the world kind of thing? But then boom, like existential dread, and people are like, oh my god, oh shit, you're unpacking this world, and then, you know, shit happens. Like, it's so cool.
That has been obsessed with appealing to the widest audience possible, executives chasing infinite growth, games have been stripped of any ambiguity. Modern storytelling assumes that the player must be handheld through every story beat, every emotion, every idea in case they might get confused and stop buying their games. But Sandfall respects its audience. They don't feel like they need to spell everything out. They don't insult you with constant on-the-nose exposition. They let you live in their world, absorb its meaning, piece together its mysteries. Characters reveal themselves through actions and subtext rather than bullet points. And
I prefer to, like, figure it out if I have to. Like, through going around and talking to people. Like, I understand, like, game devs like to... How do I put it? They want to have the... They want to have the reader or the gamer figure it out for themselves, but if you leave enough hints, it should also make it at least more inclined to understand what's going on than a person who skips through everything. Yeah, they want the idiots to get it too. They do. They do.
Nothing
But force feeding
is predictable.
sucks.
I've been floored countless times by this game's narrative, hands in the air yelling absolute cinema. There is so little revealed, yet so much at the exact same time. You are given the space to truly know these characters, but not a single one of them really fits cleanly into an archetype. They are complex, contradictory, messy, human in a way that very few games ever achieve. Every member of your party carries the same trauma of the world that they're living in, but they wear it differently. And the moment that you think you have somebody figured out, the page turns and you see a side of them that you hadn't before. And it's all delivered by an all...
And the characters are attractive. Oh my god, every single character that was panned to was attractive.
Star voice cast. You wander a world littered with the remnants of the expeditions that came before you. Thousands of bodies marking your path. For those who come after, we continue.
Where's Dawn? She's the guy that you have to run around on in the open world before you find the bosses. You know, the little big boy and that fucking flies around and shit? Yeah, there's your Daw.
It's not just a slogan of this world, it's a lived, brutal truth. You're constantly reminded about how important your mission is and how hopeless it all feels. Twists, turns, cliffhangers. The game dares you to keep going, dares you to understand more. Even reality itself bends as black and white dream sequences cut through the world, boxed by vertical pillar box lines, stripping away any comfort, any warmth. These moments don't just feel different, they feel wrong, like they exist outside of time itself, and that deliberate discomfort sinks into you. The soundscape and the world design are utterly breathtaking. I cannot count how many times I have stopped
I saw that cutscene when I played for a little bit.
In my tracks, panned the camera around slowly and just stared.
He eats
the scene before me looked like it was a painting that deserved to be hung in a gallery. Expedition 33 is built around music and art at every single level, from skill names to weapons to the name.
Is he wearing a beret and has a baguette strapped to his back? That's cinema right there. That's how you know this French people made this.
Names of towns themselves. It's a world that doesn't push you forward. It begs you to stop, to look, to feel, to listen. It's visibly distinct. It's audibly distinct, yet eerily familiar at the exact same time. And that mixture of mystery and recognition is exactly what keeps you rooted in place. Well, at least until the gameplay rips you off your feet. As a fan of turn-based games, 3 of my favorite games of all time are Grandia 2, Final Fantasy 8, and Legend of Dragoon. I have never seen a game revolutionize turn-based combat like this before. I'll be honest, I was afraid. When I had heard about the dodge, parry, and quick time event mechanics, I thought it was just going to be gimmicks. But they're not gimmicks. They're the solution. Turn-based combat has struggled to stay relevant in the modern age. Part of that is due to executives not wanting to fund these type of games, but the other part of it is that players today, including myself, just don't really have the patience like we once did. And while some games have been successful and people obviously still want it, there needs to be an evolution. That's why we've seen auto battle systems dominate the genre, reducing what used to be thoughtful, tactical gameplay into passive, gotcha-like gameplay. Damn,
she really did a lot of damage.
Expedition 33 refuses to let that happen. Instead, it rewards players for staying engaged. Dodging at the right time will grant you action points or other buffs depending on the pictos that you have. Parrying will boost your damage. Hitting time prompts will amplify your attack.
Turn-based, like Pokemon, is so 30 years ago. They really needed an innovation, man.
These mechanics don't feel bolted on. They feel natural, inevitable, earned. It's the evolution of turn-based combat that I've been waiting for since Final Fantasy VIII, a true, seamless fusion of action and strategy that keeps you locked in every second without betraying the roots of this genre. Expedition 33 isn't just a great game. I think it's a quiet rebellion, a reminder of everything that this industry could be and everything it has chosen not to be. It's proof that we just need someone, somewhere to care enough to create something real, something beautiful, something that dares to reach beyond the safe, dead outlines of what's already been done before. One of the things that really stood out to me and the game isn't getting enough appreciation for is its return to youth.
This game's got everything. It's got vor and action and feet. Absolute cinema, chat.
Unique characters. It's something that we used to have in a lot of JRPGs, but a lot of these games have kind of gotten away from it. Made it where all these characters can kind of just, they're just Lego sets essentially. You can build them however you want, and they all can have the exact same skills. But each...
No, I know it's not a new mechanic, but it's the first time I've really seen it in like a non-cartoony RPG. Because this is not Super Mario. This is not Paper Mario. This is like a really cool, realistic, gritty kind of RPG.
Character in Expedition 33 is remarkably unique from the next one. Luna has her elemental stains, Mael has her stances, CL has a mix of both of them, and then all of these characters can work dynamically with one another to set up one another for different attacks and combos and things like that. There's a lot of genius in that. But we've been deprived of that over the last few years because, well, a lot of these companies just don't trust the player. I've been talking about it recently.
And that's the problem. They don't want to sell a product to a customer. They want the safe route.
Because I saw somebody post, they made a comparison between Skyrim and Oblivion. They showed about how much content had been removed from Oblivion to Skyrim. A lot of customization, a lot of depth. And the reason why is because it's all about accessibility. These studios, these publishers, they see that as a way for them to be able to reach wider audiences. They... Instead of wanting to add value or do anything unique, they instead want to treat their audience like they drank half a can of paint thinner when they were a kid.
Actually true, though. And that's what hurts the most. It's because people, let me phrase it this way. I feel like the dawn of the internet and people min-maxing a game before it even comes out, like Elden Ring, is what's dumbed down the new generation of gamers and also dumbed down adults that got into video games. I think that Elden Ring, when they were like giving it up to journos and letting people play it early, I think that's a mistake. I know it's to promote the game and stuff, but I do think it's not a great idea to have like beta test builds. Like, throw it at the player and let them figure it out. Stop fucking letting people min-max that shit. Before the game even comes out, I knew what fucking weapons were in Elden Ring before the game even came out, and I hate that shit.
So we see that in the writing, in the world design, and it's all watered down towards that goal. Expedition 33 subverts that, along with a lot of...
Bro, I'm stupid though? No, you are not stupid. You are not stupid. I didn't have good internet until probably around about 2010 or 2011. My parents didn't get good internet. I don't think we got dial-up until like 2008 or 7. I didn't know what to do, and I just beat my head into the wall until I beat the game. You're not stupid. You just have to figure it out. And these games are dumbing you down by letting you figure it out through in the game, or like look it up on the internet. Like, I like it, or I prefer it to be more interesting when you get to learn things as you're playing the game. Not like a high skill ceiling, but like a gradual skill ceiling.
Other developers I've seen recently as well. But, you know, while playing this game, I get this overwhelming feeling of respect. Respect for the players, respect for themselves as developers, for the medium, for the game, and much of that respect has been lost within this industry. And that's why players are upset. That's why these games feel hollow in the end, because you have to respect all of it. Otherwise, what's the point? Expedition 33 feels like a miracle at this point in this industry, not a product. And it's a work of art. It's a bleeding, breathing work of art, a testament to what games can actually be. And at the same time, like I had said before, it's exposing just how little we're given from the rest of the industry. You know, I noticed that a lot of game developers and a lot of studios reached out to Sandfall to congratulate them on the success of Expedition 33. I did not see Ubisoft, though. Maybe that's because they're under new management. When I sit back and think about it, I just genuinely don't think this is the kind of game that we would see the industry even dare to try to make anymore. You have a dark, emotionally charged story that doesn't lean into forced humor to be able to soften its blows. It's not-
Oh my god, that's another thing that really chaps my ass. Forced humor through like pop culture references that don't make any sense like in 5 to 10 years. Like, imagine if this game included shit like Chicken Jockey, and then, like, you know, in 5 years you're gonna play the game and you're like, what the fuck is Chicken Jockey? You know, like, that kind of thing. I'm not making it a one-to-one, obviously, but I'm just saying, like, it wouldn't make any sense. Yeah, forced humor, I think, can never be funny. I think that humor has to be timeless.
Not like Dragon Age the Veilguard, where you're going to fight a dragon, one of the characters starts talking about a book they like, and Tosh intervenes to tell them that the book is probably about sex, doubling down again to say, I bet it's about sex.
This doesn't even have to be a culture, like, reference. It's just so cringe. People don't talk like this in real life.
Wow. So funny. Genius writing.
I bet it's about sex. I don't have sex.
Really?
Sex
or maybe
is
how about that one
gross.
time where you go to the infested docks and all the people are dead and one of the characters chimes in like it's a Scooby-Doo investigation saying it's quiet. Too quiet. Mature rated game, by the way. When Expedition 33 uses humor, it's well delivered and with nuance. I remember there was a scene where I was reuniting with CL. Gustav prepares to trauma dump over what happened at the beach. They zoom in on his face. The tone shifts. Dramatic music starts playing. And one of the other characters turns and essentially says, not now, Gustav. And the music cuts out. It's unexpected but well-delivered comedy that makes sense for the characters, the world, and the
Stop your trauma dumping, bitch. And he's like, oh, okay.
situation. I mean, we have conventionally
funny.
attractive characters in 2025 without a hint of irony, cynicism, or commentary around it. I mean, I think that Luna's proof that they have a feet guy on their team, but outside of that, it feels so vindicating to have exactly what players have been asking for. Aesthetically,
And I bet you if this was made by like other like millennial writing, they would have probably been like, actually no, Gustav, keep going. Your trauma dumping is valid, queen. And he'd be like, oh, thank you. And then that would kill the whole joke.
pleasing, cool-looking characters that are tastefully presented. This is all people have been asking for, yet game developers and the media have taken it out of context, saying that we are asking for strippers. No. Well, I mean, sometimes, but not all of the time. We have a narrative without forced real-world allegories stapled onto it, without painful exposition, dumping the entire plot and every character's feelings, trauma, and identity into your lap because they think that you're too stupid to figure it out. We have stakes, mystery, gravity, and tragedy all left for players to sort out on their own as the story unfolds. Holy shit. You know, let's go ahead and make it a turn-based, Japanese-inspired RPG, the remnants of the genre that have been lost to the passage of time and the vision of C-suite executives that don't believe that it can...
That's why I also believe that not turn-based, live-action strategy games, RTSs, are not a dead genre. It's just that nobody wants to put effort into it because they actually had high-effort, low payout for so many years. And the only ones that broke through were like StarCraft, Age of Empires, and a couple of other like, you know, franchises. And now nobody wants to make them because it's too high risk and low reward if it fails. And I think that with this, with Metaphor, Refantasia, or whatever it's called, and this game, I think that you can revive and show that RPGs can make a good comeback.
Make money anymore and that players don't even want it, a genre that has essentially been on life support outside of the Atlas games, Octopath Traveler, Atelier series, and a couple of others. Finally, let's tie a bow on the entire thing, make the game with just over 30 developers in under 5 years and sell it for $50. No, wait, scratch that. Let's put it on sale for 10% off before the game is even released.
Wow.
And during its...
It's $50? I thought it was like $70. It's $50?
launch week to make sure that it's a fair price point for players, a low barrier to entry.
For a game like this, I feel like that's kind of a ripoff. I ain't gonna hold you. And it's on Game Pass. Yeah, that's how my friend got into it. She was like, oh, it was on my Game Pass, and my boyfriend, he has the Xbox and the Game Pass, and I looked around and I heard that. She doesn't sound like this, but I'm just saying, this is her saying this, and she's like, oh my god, I just wanted to check it out.
And give those players the opportunity to take a chance instead of feeling like they need to make an investment to play their game. By every modern AAA standard, this game should not exist. And yet here it is, standing taller, reaching farther, hitting harder than almost anything that these AAA studios and publishers have produced.
Yeah, that's how I talk.
It's refreshing, but more than that, it's enraging because it shows just how low the bar has been set by the people that are supposed to be leading this industry. They keep telling themselves the same lie, not only to themselves, but to us as well, that the only way for them to succeed is to play it safe. That bold ideas are too dangerous, that nuance is confusing, that the audience needs to be handheld, babied, spoon-fed every emotion, every plot point, every mechanic, because they are too stupid to figure it out on their own.
Feet!
But this is never about protecting the players. This is about protecting their profits. It's about control. It's about squeezing margins, about turning games into lifeless, frictionless products that can be stamped out, sold, patched, updated, and forgotten. And in doing so, they have crippled themselves. That's what makes what Sandfall has done that much more satisfying. A studio of 33 developers, mostly Ubisoft refugees, who built Expedition 33 on a budget of likely under $50 million in under 5 years, have absolutely smoked Assassin's Creed Shadows on Steam, while being a game that was given away for free on Game Pass, the biggest subscription service in this industry. And they...
Yeah, it's... Ubisoft never gave away Assassin's Creed for free. I don't think they did, right? Like, they're not part of that. Ubisoft, that's its own platform. Or am I wrong? Where's it on Game Pass? Was it on Game Pass or not? They did? Hold on, I gotta fact check myself. Hold on. Was Assassin's Creed on Game Pass? Was Assassin's Creed on Game Pass? It did! Okay, never mind. Never mind what I said. I thought it didn't. More like Ubisoft.
Still outperformed
Disregard.
it. It's beautiful. It's justice. Broche, Sandfall CEO and creative director, didn't leave Ubisoft because he couldn't cut it. He left because anyone with any real ambition.
Oh, not Shadows, but they gave away their old titles. Well, that's what I was trying to say. I don't think I remember it being on Shadows. Shadows being on the Game Pass. The other ones, yes.
Anyone who gives a damn eventually realizes that you cannot create anything real inside of a machine that only knows how to recycle itself. What would he have done if he stayed? Slapped on another Assassin's Creed DLC, sell some gun skins for Rainbow Six Siege?
Yeah,
Maybe
Battle
if he was
Pass.
really lucky, he could have gotten assigned to Ubisoft's NFT strategy game. Wouldn't that have been exciting? Expedition 33 would have been strangled the second it was pitched. Too risky, too slow, too difficult to monetize. Ubisoft would have never made a game like this.
Holy!
And here's the sick part. I already know what's coming next. History is going to repeat itself like it always does. A small studio does something extraordinary. Players fall in love with it. In response to that, these publishers start staring at spreadsheets, baffled by the game's success, try to imitate it. They copy the aesthetics. They miss the soul. They throw $300 million at a knockoff and then cry on their earnings call about how players, their expectations have changed.
This is kind of how I feel about Blizzard, too. I feel this way about Blizzard with how they captured lightning in a bottle with World of Warcraft, StarCraft, and I would argue Hearthstone as well, but Hearthstone, naturally died on its own. You can't capture what World of Warcraft was in 2004 because you can't... Yeah, Diablo 2. Sorry, excuse me. Diablo 2. Diablo 1 and 2 were amazing. And they tried to basically recreate something that you can't do anymore. World of Warcraft came out at a time that just the stars aligned and they couldn't do it again. And now it's just monetization out of the ass. I'm playing Hearthstone right now. I mean, it's sad, man. It's sad what they did to it. And Warcraft. They just want to... I've yet to see anybody make a Warcraft, like Warcraft 3, Warcraft 2, so to speak, like a successor. Or a StarCraft one.
Did you guys know that they only started out with 8 developers back in 2021? In an old interview that I had found, Broche was talking about how they only had 8 people and they were hoping to reach 15. That was the dream. You can still find their early art from back then. Rough, imperfect, they had nothing. And in under 4 years, that scrappy team that then grew up to over 30 developers delivered Expedition
30 is still tiny.
33, a game that looks and feels like it belongs with the biggest and most expensive productions in the world. How does that make any sense? Meanwhile, we have the entire industry that has been lighting billions of dollars on fire and is still somehow making worse games. Sandfall did what the AAA industry insists is impossible. They built a masterpiece. They didn't spend $400 million to make it. They didn't need some bloated marketing campaign. They didn't need 500 people. They didn't even need to sell it for $70. And it worked. Because when you build something with love, with focus, with intent, players notice. We can feel it. Meanwhile, the AAA industry is still crying about ballooning development costs, pretending that they don't know why they're drowning, creating a constant state of entropy in which
Black Ops Cold War had a development budget of over $700 million. And this is why your games have battle passes in them and they last 3 months as well. Almost $1 billion.
they are the ones that are increasing costs while players are being demanded to follow their poor business decisions.
GTA 6 is going to be such a farm when it comes out.
Nobody told you to staff 800 people to make the next Fortnite. Nobody told you to waste $400 million on another cinematic action RPG. Nobody said that you couldn't try making something new or something fresh. Nobody said you have to keep chasing somebody else's success rather than their ambition. Nobody forced you to bolt on battle passes, shop tabs, microtransactions, and deluxe editions onto every single thing that you release. You did that. You chose that. When I see studios like Sandfall, small, lean, and relentless, deliver something as bold and as unforgettable as Expedition 33, it makes one thing painfully clear. The titans of this industry
Wow.
aren't untouchable anymore. They're
So
bloated,
cool.
slow, and creatively paralyzed. They have built these massive infrastructures filled with redundant management layers, bloated headcounts, and endless committees, and the end result is a process that is so convoluted that making anything truly original or valuable becomes almost impossible. The games take too long to make, cost too much, and play it far too safe.
There's a freaking like passion to it. That's why. Bureaucratic bloat. For every 30 employees, you need an HR guy. That's what I'm saying. This was made with 30 people.
At this scale, they
Expedition
can't
Camilla.
afford to take risks. They can't afford failure. And
Ugh.
when you can't afford failure, you're not experimenting anymore. You stop pushing boundaries. You stop creating. You start chasing, copying, playing defense. And eventually, you build a studio that has all the money in the world, but doesn't have any soul left to build anything. I genuinely think that this industry has just grown past the need
Look
for
at
these
this big
monolithic
boy.
publishers and developers. What used to be an advantage, size, stability, brand power, is now the very thing that's holding these guys back.
I kind of feel that way also about VTubing in a lot of ways. I think there's a lot of people that start off with the soul of like loving VTubing, and then they just want to get a quick cash grab. It's obviously, I'm not naming anyone, but there are people out there that obviously do it for money.
Future isn't being shaped by these corporate giants anymore with these
Video
1,000
games are
person
art.
development teams and
VTubing is
millions,
art.
hundreds of millions of dollar marketing campaigns. It's being built by studios
It's just-
that can still move quickly.
Chad, I wasn't even talking about that. I meant like as a general thing.
They can take creative risks that don't need to pass every idea through 6 layers of executive sign-off just to be able to get a change to a character's dialogue. And I think that's the shift that we're starting to see with a lot of these closures and a lot of these layoffs. It's not just a collapse, but a reformation of sorts. These mass layoffs, as awful as they are for the people that are involved, it's also a turning point, because when those studios implode, they don't just disappear, they scatter, they break apart, and what's left behind is raw talent. Developers that still want to make something meaningful, who still have ideas that they want to bring to life. Expedition 33 is what happens when those people finally get a chance. We are entering into a new phase for this industry, not because the major players planned for it, but because they couldn't stop it from happening. They failed to value their own developers. They failed to respect their audiences. They failed.
And that's also kind of what happens when you graduate as a VTuber. If you're under a corpo that's kind of putting like pressure on you and like choking you out, I feel like that's kind of also what happens with indie games that used to be, or conglomerates of people that used to make games for AAA studios like Blizzard, like Ubisoft, and then they shatter and they become a new studio.
To protect the creative spark that built the industry. And now, one way or another, they're the ones that are getting left behind. And frankly, it couldn't happen to a better person. I found a couple of interviews from the CEO where he was talking about how essentially the AAA structure is so convoluted and creatively suffocating that it's really difficult to be able to get anything done. But in one of his interviews, he was talking about how much of a challenge it is to be able to go indie in the first place, because a lot of people have to take on a lot of different roles when you're as small as they are. You have a lot of people that become generalists rather than specialists because you just don't have access to that kind of talent, or at least that much talent. But in that, you become creatively focused. The vision stays intact. It's very clear because it's only being handled by just a handful of people. And
well, I mean, it kind of separates you from being just a specialist who only loves doing one thing and being specialized in multiple things. Again, I keep likening it to VTubing. It's like, you don't necessarily have to be an idol and have an amazing voice or be an amazing dancer, but if you can do at least 3 to 4 things really well, that's good enough for most people.
In that, creativity can thrive and the budget stays low. Those things are really important. So whatever you dream of, whatever the game is supposed to be, stays clear the entire time because you're not having to go through 500 people to be able to make something. It's really difficult when one person has an idea and has to communicate it to 500 people instead of 8 or 30, right? These AAA publishers have tied themselves to copy-paste IP, and they've continued to grow larger and larger in scale year over year, and it's all been for nothing. Because they keep raising the floor without raising the ceiling, and eventually they're just going to get crushed. That's why we're seeing a lot of the issues that we see today. I can't imagine it feels great to worry about layoffs and studio closures and earnings calls while you're watching indie developers run circles around you, free of expectations, creatively free, being able to do whatever they want, free of any type of constraint.
This just like it's just a nail on the head with corporate VTubers. Man, I can't help but feel it's the same thing. You can't generate creativity under pressure.
Of these insane budgets.
You just can't.
Expedition 33 just got
You'll
greenlit
explode.
for its own movie, made by the same people that made the Sonic movie.
The
Meanwhile,
Sonic movie was
EA
so good,
just
though.
laid off 400 people. It's a lot of barbs. Expedition 33 has so much heart. It really does. You can genuinely feel that these developers
Soul
threw
chat.
everything they had into this game. And seeing as this is their first game that they made, I cannot wait to see what these guys are going to do after. I haven't finished the game yet. I'm going to be getting to that after I finish this video. I think I need to take a break one of these weeks, maybe not try to release 2 videos, maybe just do 1 instead or something like that. But, you know, we get a lot of good games. We get some great ones. But every once in a while, we get one of those games that just knocks you off your seat. It just takes your breath away. And I've had a lot of breathless moments when I've been playing Expedition 33. And it's great to see these developers get the recognition that they deserve and also see their work rewarded. And I think they're going to continue to be rewarded, to be honest with you. We're going to be seeing them at the Game Awards. I'm going to tell you that right now.
Good.
Probably even win Game of the Year. Unless Grand Theft Auto wins by default, which I...
Oh, please don't. These big publishers that release like $70 games to $100 games, God forbid, with battle passes and like pay to win cosmetics. Expedition 33 has a deluxe edition and it's still not as expensive. This must have been filmed before the delay. Oh yeah, it was 5 days ago. Yeah, you're right.
I could totally see
Yeah,
this industry
it got
doing
pushed
that,
back.
so, but anyway. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you guys did enjoy the video, like the video, comment down below, share the video on social platforms. I see that stuff happen and I see it in the analytics and it's really cool that people do that. I don't even really ask for you guys to do that, but yeah, that's cool. It helps way more than I thought it would. Yeah, that's all I got. Come follow me on Twitch. Come hang out when I play games on the weekend. Outside of that, stay cool, stay righteous, stay safe. I'll catch you guys in the next one.
Bro, family. Family. It destroyed expectation. It didn't just raise the bar, in my opinion. I really want to play it now. I wasn't even on the fence. It's just that I didn't have time. It happened during my vacation. It shot chat. It destroyed expectations and it shot it into low orbit and told Ubisoft, like, hold this L, bitch. It's the new Baldur's Gate. If the story's better than Baldur's Gate, like, I had my gripes about Baldur's Gate in general. Like, overall, I had my gripes. I don't think that it was the perfect game. It was really, really good, but it wasn't perfect. I think some of the voice acting was a little bit off, but the story was pretty good. But then again, the standards and the level at which we're expected things to land in video games now is really low, so it's way under Baldur's Gate. I don't know. I'll see for myself. Maybe I'll play it. Maybe I'll play it on stream or something. I don't know.
Fire, 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 fire.